Revelator is an episode with a pretty shocking revelation. With a name like that, it better. Mainly the idea that Alia knows, or rather learned against her will, that Gabriel was monarch. Don't worry, Cat Noir erases her memories on Marinette's orders. And don't worry again. He doesn't know what he erased, he just knows, hey, I have to destroy this memory. Still, it's good to see Rena Rouge call out Marinette on her absolute bullcrap. However, my problem goes far beyond the Season 6 setup of Miraculous Ladybug. Let's go back to see. The consistent problem with this series is just how poorly it treats Adrien Agreste. You know, he's not the second name in the title or anything. Adrien is always treated as a ticking time bomb, and I understand that. With his power set, he is a ticking time bomb. In practice, this often leads him to be locked out and railroaded from the plot itself, which does not work when you center it on his family. Or at least it was centered on his family. Don't worry, the very finale of Season 5, where his father stops being the villain and ends up dying, has nothing to do with Adrien at all. No, no, no. We have to use that to set up Marinette and the possible drama that can come out of that. It's a fundamentally broken narrative when it comes to Adrien. The storyline about the Agreste family stops being about Adrien, his relationships, and his sufferings, his conflicts. And it becomes a plot surrounding Adrien, where everyone is trying to shelter Adrien, which is bizarre when it comes to a superhero plot. I mean, this kid regularly gets thrown through buildings. I think he can handle a little emotional damage. Or at least the emotional damage would be good drama, as opposed to just seeing him be thrown through buildings? I mean, come on. Do you ever recall watching a TV show as a kid where the main character has a crush on another character, and that character is just a one-shot character of the day, stock personality nobody who is never seen again? Yeah, I know that's a lot of redundancies, but bear with me. That's how I feel about how this whole plot is treating Adrien so far. What makes it especially frustrating is that his setup makes his payoff look really bad. The idea that he has a very controlling life, well, controlling father with a very demanding schedule, and then he gets to be a carefree superhero? Good setup. And his dad is the supervillain? Even better setup. Too bad that nothing actually comes out of that. We're only teased with potential conflicts, and we never really capitalize on that conflict. And the build up to that conflict that we're always teased to actually have, but never actually given, well, look at how the season 5 finale played out. It recenters everything away from Gabriel and Adrien, with Marinette being railroaded into it, which, okay, honestly could work, to let's recenter everything on Marinette. I understand the need to have the main character be there, and how the plot needs to affect the main character, rather than just have them play a magical tourist. But it feels like the wrong move to shift the focus from Adrien's dad as monarch, how will he react to Adrien's dad as monarch, Marinette covered up for him, then, well, what will Adrien do when he ultimately finds out about how his own dad is monarch? Oh, and yeah, Marinette also lied to the entire planet. Now, I'll give them this. They can go in a completely new direction. They already did the unexpected by just recentering everything on Marinette rather than doing the logical story progression where actual causality might need to matter with Adrien, the Senti monster who also doesn't know about the rings here. And I would applaud them if they actually did make this about Adrien in the end and at the core. But with the track record of this series, I don't see that happening in a way that doesn't make Marinette and Adrien's relationship look like a Clostridium botulinum infection. Although, one thing that does both disgust me and give me intrigue is the possibility of a Miraculous, and yes, that is their team name, Civil War. Oh boy, Civil Wars, so 2016. Because I do feel like Rena Rouge learning independently of whatever the secret Marinette was holding, and then investigating, and then ending up breaking her friendship with Marinette and just driving the Miraculous into a schism where one side sides with Marinette and the other side sides with Alia, that actually might work out very well, because one of the things the Miraculous, or Team Miraculous that I've been calling them, is in dire need of is character interactions, and breaking them into two warring factions that Lila can divide and rule makes a lot of sense. But again, look at the franchise we're dealing with. This is a franchise that tried to put out an episode that said, hey, this is racism and racial profiling, and used neither of those words in the episode. And of course, Roger, being a recurring character, was always such an asshole that he could just simply be mistaken for just being an asshole rather than just doing racism. The same episode where he tried to tackle racism and then do the very stereotypical make every single Asian villain speak like a fortune cookie. Yes, multiple fortune cookie Asian villains. It's probably unfair to say all of them speak like fortune cookies, but there's at least two that I can easily recall off the back of my hand: Furious Fu and the Chi-Lin episode. Look, for me to accept the current plot, I feel like the series has to correct itself for treating Adrian like a ticking time bomb, and thus tries to avoid telling him anything out of fear that he goes off, and ultimately makes Cat Noir look like a smaller player on the chessboard and merely a cataclysm vending machine. I do want to see his feelings on Ladybug, Monarch, Felix, the family, himself, when it comes to the big revelation that his father is a literal supervillain. I want to see his thoughts, his words, what he does, what he fails to do. Yeah, there's a through his fault, through his most grievous fault joke somewhere in here. Because if there's another category that Miraculous heavily struggles in, it's in the category of causality. Arcs aren't really built up over time. There is an introduction, some teetering in the middle, and then everything sort of happens at the end, which does screw up the pacing. When it comes to Adrian's feelings, I do feel like his emotional arc should actually build up over time, as opposed to sort of just having a stretched out middle portion until you just hammer it to the end. That's why I oppose Revolution so much. I'm not against the concept of we get unlimited uses of our powers. I'm opposed to the fact that it's sort of throw stuff at wall, hopes the rotting mud sticks to it. Those are just my thoughts. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.